today is a day of Thanksgiving. And today I am grateful that I'm living, y'all. If yesterday is gone away, and if tomorrow never came, I must take this time today to elevate my praise for you. I must take this time today to elevate my praise for you. I must take this time today to elevate my praise for you. I must take this time today to elevate my praise for you.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Brother Calvin, here with another episode of The Faith Factor. And today I have a very, very, very special guest, of course. She's dope. She's amazing. She's inspirational, motivational. And so I'm not going to waste any of your time, any of her time. And I'm bringing her in. Ladies and gentlemen, come in the virtual building. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, the one and the only Miss Be Inspired.
Hey, everybody.
How are you, Queen?
I am well. I am grateful. I'm blessed. All of that wonderful stuff.
Come on. Ladies and gentlemen, now I done messed up my notes, so I'm going to let you tell everybody all your businesses and all of your links to your social media and everything. But I want to get into the origin story of how we actually met and began networking. So as I recall, I think I randomly I saw something posted or saw something and I reached out and explained who I was and asked if I could be a guest on the show. And that was Be Inspired Radio.
Yes,
right?
Be Inspired Radio Show on Be Exposed Radio.
On BeExposedRadio.com. Yes, with Nathan and Monty and everybody. Shout out.
Yes.
And so that began our working relationship. After that first interview, they invited me back like 29 times. And then, of course, I would request to be back. Like if I was doing something like the tour that I did, I would let them know I'm doing something. Can I come through? And they were all about helping me promote my brand, helping me expand, be exposed, and help me, with my journey. And I want to thank you today for everything you've done for me in my career. I don't take it lightly. You didn't have to keep allowing me to come back. You didn't have to share your platform, and I'm grateful to you for that. And so that's why I know I had to have you on my show once I actually decided to branch out and have another form of medium. So I want to jump right in, let everybody know. So I met her during on Be Exposed Radio for the Be Inspired Radio show. Yes. But take us back to when you first started in broadcasting and all of that.
Absolutely. So first, let me start by saying thank you, Brother Calvin, for having me on. I am super proud of you for stepping out on faith and doing your own thing with Faith Factor, which I think is so awesome. And thank you for inviting me. So as Calvin said, yes, we got our start on my radio show, but it's crazy because when God has something for you, absolutely it's for you. I did not get my start in broadcasting. I actually started out working for the federal government. And I've been working there for, you know how they say that good government job. Well, yes. Yeah. I had that good government job and God had blessed me there, and I'm grateful for the experience I had there. It really taught me a lot about business and being in the corporate world.
Okay.
But in 2018, God called me off of my job to expand into what is now Be Inspired Global Network. So let me
Yes.
backtrack just for a second because I got my start on BeExposedRadio.com. And as Brother Calvin already said, shout out to Monty and Nate and company. They really opened their door to me and allowed me to really expand in broadcasting. I had
Mhm.
no radio experience, no broadcasting experience whatsoever. I had a hope and a dream. God
Come on.
opened the door. I walked in and I said, I love that Tamarind. Come on now. Come on, Tamarind.
Oh yeah.
Don't start nothing, Brother Calvin. We be on here having church, okay?
Hey. You know.
But yes, so I had no radio experience, no broadcasting experience, but
Mhm.
they opened their door to me, and I'm grateful that they did. But it was ordained by God because as soon as I walked through that door, so many other doors opened to me. I actually started doing some journalism work for Monarch Magazine. Shout out
Wow.
to Mr. Will Walters. That is a luxury upscale magazine in the DMV area. I've
Hey.
had the pleasure of interviewing and writing articles for many different celebrities. And I think the last one I did was Master P, that was an enlightening interview because he's all about growing the black dollar and
Mhm.
owning your own business. And why that was so pivotal for me is because that's exactly where I am. And you never know who God's going to use to
Yes.
minister to you. I would have
Mhm.
never thought in a million years that I'd be doing an interview with Master P and he'd be speaking into my life like,
Come
do
on.
this, sis. But it was a life-changing experience. So being at Be Exposed is where I got my start.
Mhm.
Be Inspired, radio show was
Mhm.
where Be Inspired Global Network was birthed. And I really want to thank God for just giving me that opportunity to expand. And so here we are in 2020. Be Inspired Global Network is a fully functioning network. We have
Mhm.
our own shows that we produce. We are expanding. We have some wonderful new things that are coming out in the very near future, in the fall, in fact, which I cannot give away too much. I'd love to give you
Ah,
an exclusive tonight, Brother
we
Calvin,
love
but
exclusive. We love exclusive on
I
the Faith Factor.
but I gotta hold off. You know how when you're doing something exciting, you want to spill all the beans, but I can't.
Yeah.
But
In due
stay
time.
tuned, right? In due time, stay tuned.
Mhm.
There are a lot of things happening, and then God just allowed me to launch my new business, which is my public relations consulting, media
Okay.
consulting business, which is Miss The Inspired Enterprises,
Mm.
where I am helping other professionals like myself who decided to launch out on faith to start a book or expand their career in whatever they're expanding it. And I'm giving them PR advice or media consultation to help them to expand their brand. So God is good, and I'm grateful to be where I am today. It wasn't an easy journey, but I'm grateful for what I've learned along the way.
Yes, and when she says we, when she's talking about Be Inspired Global, she means that she's in partnership with her dope husband Titus in the
Yes, I
building.
can't leave that out,
Shout out
Brother
to
Calvin.
Titus, who is a film producer
Yes,
and so much more, and them two together are unstoppable.
yes.
Y'all inspire me so much. I know I don't know y'all personally, but just to over the years, what I have seen it's amazing, and I thank God
Yes.
for y'all. I thank God
Thank
for y'all moving and listening to God and jumping out there and being out the box and just bringing new stuff. Just bringing new stuff.
Yeah, that was our goal to really bring something fresh and new because the three pillars of Be Inspired Global is to highlight content that focuses on faith, family, and community.
Mm,
Those are our three pillars. We
come
stand
on,
very
pillars.
firmly on that, and that is the framework for our business. And so we wanted to, for a change, highlight refreshing content because we
Mm,
are inundated with COVID-19. We're inundated with political matters. We're inundated with so much content, and sometimes it can bring you down. It can bring your
mm,
spirit down. And because my husband and I, shout out to my husband, Titus Burrell, uh,
yeah.
our goal, because we are a man and woman of God, our goal is always to bring glory to God, but
Mm,
to also use this platform to uplift and to encourage. a nation that needs it right now, because
Yeah.
this country is in a lot of pain. This world is in a lot of pain. And so we need media outlets to stand up to minister to those parts of us that need to be ministered to, and not just inundate us with the latest news on COVID-19 or the latest news on whatever negative is happening.
That's amazing. Can you take us back to when God first started giving you the vision for the broadcasting lane? Like, here you are, full force in government, and then God is like, left. We about to be here, and we about to be here hard. So take us through that. What was going through your mind? What types of challenges did you have to overcome in that moment to actually take the step?
Yeah. The one challenge I will say is being comfortable, because when you're getting a good old paycheck every 2 weeks that you can rely on, okay, you know where your next meal is going to come from, it's hard to give that up. But stepping out on faith the way that myself and my husband did, it took just that faith. We had to trust God on a level that we never trusted him before. So I remember the exact day when God called me off of my job. Before then, and when I was at Be Exposed, I knew that the next step for me was going to be to start my own broadcasting. I didn't know the moment I was there, but over time, as I came in contact with people, as I connected with different artists like yourself and different ones, I realized that I wanted to, especially for men and women of God, I wanted to provide a platform for you all to be able to share your gifts. But not just that, I wanted to be a voice. I wanted to build a platform that could be a voice for things that are good, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of a good report. Think on these things. We wanted to be that platform that could bring those things that are of a good report. So I knew maybe 2 years into broadcasting that I wanted to do this. But when God actually said, okay, this is the moment, it was like a shockwave went through me. The day that I left my job was May the 7th, 2000. I put my resignation in May the 7th, 2018. I remember that date because that was the day my mother passed away in 2005.
Okay.
And so the correlation between that was major, because it meant that something old was passing away, but God was getting ready to do something new. And he used my mother's transition date as that date for me to leave my job. And I called my husband and I said, honey, this is the day. There were some things that had transpired at my job, and I just knew. And so when I told him, he said, and we're going to be all right. That was the only confirmation I needed. I put my resignation in. I said, this is it.
And we're going to be all right.
It. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. When you walk upright, when you live for God, when he is the center of your life, he will order your steps. And that's exactly what he did. I put my resignation in. Right after that, God sent confirmation after confirmation to make sure that we knew that we made the right decision, including we had just, now mind you, in March, we had just moved into a new house. And that May, I left my job. I'm like, God, what is going on?
Okay.
Right after that, God sent people to just give us stuff. I'm talking about including new furniture for our home. I'm talking about a whole U-Haul full of new furniture. This lady was selling her house. I cannot make this up. This lady was selling her house, and all I went there for was a divider so I could create an office in my home. Left there, not only with the divider and the money that I was going to pay her, she gave me that money back and told me, take whatever you need. The steps of a good man is ordered by the Lord. Okay.
Won't he do it? Then he do it. Good grief.
It was challenging, yes. It was scary, yes. But trusting God, you cannot lose. because he's going to make sure you're taken care of. I'm not going to say you're not going to be afraid. I'm not going to tell you that there aren't going to be times when you're not going to be uncertain. But one thing I know for sure, Romans 8:28, for we know that that all things work together for the good of them who love God and who are called according to his purpose. It's all going to work out. And I'm a witness. So, yes.
That story is amazing, and I know it's so much more inside and all up in that story too.
It's some more, but I know we IG only give you an hour, so
right. That's just a little taste of what God has done. That's amazing. Shout out to I am Kaylee Model. She's been in here since I first turned it on. Turn up.
Oh,
Shout out to you.
That's my bestie.
Helping brothers out in the building always.
Yes.
So what has been your favorite part about broadcasting?
Just the wonderful people that I've had a chance to meet, to interview. If you can't tell, that's my favorite part, is all of the different types of people.
Right.
All of the aspiring artists, those who want to be in broadcasting. And I was always enamored when someone would look at me like, wow, can you give me some tips? I'm like, whoa, I'm just getting started myself, but I can help you, so whatever I can do. But it was always amazing just to come in contact with so many awesome people, to hear their story. I was always floored when I would hear other people's faith walk stories. I'd be like, wow, because God, he's not just faithful to me. He's faithful to you. He's faithful to so many. And it takes a lot of courage to step out on faith. So the most fun part for me in broadcasting is definitely the people that I've met.
That's what's up. And you know what? It's interesting. The scripture says that he whom the Son sets free is free indeed.
Yes.
And I used a different take on that and applying it to you being just starting with Be Exposed Radio. And because when I got there, I couldn't tell either, because you flowed. It was your energy. You jumped all the way in. And so it's almost the same. He whom the Son sets free is free indeed. And when God has appointed you to something, the phrase it says, I don't look like what I've been through, And so God will do a thing in us to where people who just are meeting us or people who don't know us won't even know that this is my first time doing broadcasting, or this is my first time, or I don't really know all the ins and outs yet, because he has a plan for it. And he has ministry stamped on your life at that moment, to where you being new wasn't even in the equation. It wasn't important in the equation for the people you had to affect, like me and all of your listeners and followers and everything like that. So that's why, you were new, but hey, before the foundations of the world, he knew us. Come on.
Yes, he had a plan. Yes, he knows our very end. And one thing that I my grandmother used to tell me all the time, this was her mantra, and it became my mantra, was to be the best Naomi that you can be. And so whatever I did, I wanted to apply myself, not because I just wanted to just make myself proud, but the God I serve, he's so good, he's so excellent, he's so amazing. And so if I'm carrying the banner for Christ, I want to make sure that I'm representing the kingdom of God well. And so when I would go in the studio, of course I would pray within my heart, because I wanted to make sure that I was representing him well. And shout out to Blizzard, who was my co-host, and also Azrael.
Yes. Shout out.
Guys. Oh my God. But they would laugh at me, but I had standards. No drinking on my show, no cursing, none of that. We're going to have a good time, but it's going to be good, clean fun. We're going to have a good time.
Yes.
But when you live what you speak and what you preach about, people have no problem respecting your standards.
Right.
When you live a double standard, then people have a chance, they have a reason to question your lifestyle.
Exactly.
So when I would make those standards on my show, people didn't question it because I lived it outside of the radio station and my life. And not that I was perfect at all. And I didn't go in judging anybody else's lifestyle. I wanted the love of Christ to be shown. I wanted the love of Christ to win somebody over. Not me going in there telling them how wrong they were living and all that. I just had a standard for my show you love, and that was it. And God worked out the rest. He really did.
Yes, yes. So on Be Inspired Global, the network, can you walk us through the setup? Because I know there are podcasts on there, and then there's a whole bunch of things going on. Can you break it down for us?
Yes. So we started out just doing video casts or podcasts, going live on Facebook with different shows. Shout out to Derek Jarrell Dixon and Elwood, Mr. Class Ingram.
Yes.
Were our first show. And we first I want to thank them for taking a chance with us because we were up and coming. We had no shows. So at first, we just started out broadcasting their show, and shout out to Marilyn Harris Davis and Dr. Gary Jennings from Urban Health Beat 2.0. They had been on WOLB and all these other stations and decided to join our team. So that's what we started out doing. But as we started to evolve, one of the things that we wanted to do was use the Facebook page that we have to just share different types of content. Sometimes it'll be an inspirational video that we saw that we would repost to our page and just add the Be Inspired Global brand. And so we were really using that content to just build our brand. So that's what you see on the page. But the next step for us is to be that TV station, that station, that network that you can come and see all kinds of quality content. And so that's where we are at the stage of our network right now. So we do have some new shows that are going to be joining us come the fall. We're excited. We have another one that's going to be starting very soon with the Baltimore Huns that I'm really excited about because shout out to my Hun Hive. I
see those posts. Turn up.
Yes. I am a proud Baltimore Hun. I'm so excited because the Huns are diversifying and adding women of color. And they've always been inclusive, but it is an important initiative, especially in times like today, to see all types of women represented from Baltimore, not just Baltimore, but all across the globe. So we have them. They're going to be joining with a new show that we'll be advertising really soon, and a couple of others. So really, we're not just limiting ourselves to podcasts and radio shows. We're going to be featuring movies. I mean, you name it. That's all the type of stuff that's going to be on our network. And that's all I can give away at this time. But that's where we are. We are a network.
Yes, come on, network. For people who don't know, please give us a brief explanation of what a Hun is.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So a Hun is just a representation of the working class woman. A woman who is a wife, who is a mother, who may be a stay-at-home mom. You may not have any children, but you're a working class woman. That's what the Huns are about. A woman who, it really stemmed from like the hairspray era with the beehives and the women that were represented then were usually women who were blue collar. They worked at, they were waitresses, they were things like that. But modern day Huns are women of all walks of life. And it's all about love. We come together, we serve. There have been many times that we've gone down to the Baltimore station and fed the homeless veterans. We show up at different charitable events just to hand out hugs, you name it. So it's a group of working class women that have come together to serve the community in love. And that's why I'm part of it, because I love what it represents. When I was recruited, shout out to Judy Templeton. I love her. She's amazing. She's my recruit. But the first meeting I went to, the first thing I felt was the love with the women. And we all came together. We We collaborated on a lot of different things to really highlight the good that's happening in Baltimore. Because again, on the news, different networks, on media, Baltimore is made to seem like it's a terrible place, but there's a lot of love here, a lot of art, a lot of amazing, talented people. And
Yes.
so the Baltimore Huns, we come together, we do parades, all that good stuff, and just spread love.
Spread the love.
Mm-hmm.
Have there been any bloopers in your broadcasting career? Things that were just hilarious that would happen in the middle of the show?
Yes, and it's, as a matter of fact, we would coin the phrase and we would say bloopers.
Yeah.
Every time something would happen, especially with the Inspired radio show, we would have bloopers all the time. There have been times that I've gotten tongue twisted and couldn't say somebody's name correctly. There'd be times, even with the Inspired Global Network, where the whole broadcast would just shut down and we had to come back and be like, things happen, bloopers, And I am a fan of calling it out. Like, don't act like it didn't happen, because that's just going to make the moment even more awkward. Okay, just call it out. Call it a blooper. Okay, so that way I know. It's no need to cover it up. Bloopers. So yeah, we've had many. I can't even recall one specific event, but what I can say is there have been many, and my favorite thing to do is just call it out. Call it what it is.
Okay. Who are some of your mentors in business in general, I guess?
Yes. Well, my very first mentor was my grandmother, Ida P. Murray. And that is an amazing story because she's not my blood grandmother. My mother and I were looking for a place to stay. She was looking for a room to rent. And the woman that we went to was a woman who didn't accept women with children into her home. But I remember the day we showed up, I had to have been about 7 or 8 years old. And my grandmother, she said, I reminded her of Cicely Tyson because I had so much confidence. I just walked in with my shoulders squared like I knew where I was. But she knew from that moment, she said God told her that she had to accept my mother and I into her home. Little did she know that she'd be the one raising me. And my mom, who I love dearly, at some point, our relationship became estranged. She was raised in foster care. So a lot of times she was looking for love for her own self. And one day I'm going to tell her story because my mom has an amazing story. And I think many women can be, and people in general can be healed from hearing her story. Yeah. But this woman, Ida P. Murray, came in at a crucial time in my life when I needed someone to be stable in my life. She had a house, this beautiful house. It's on the corner of Garrison Barrington. It's still there to this day. The lady who bought it is the lady who lived across the street from us, who had a daycare. And so from time to time, she allows me to come in and visit the house just because that's the house I grew up in. But my grandmother taught me business then. She ran a house. She kept her books. She was an accountant by trade. She sold insurance to people. And so she would go door to door selling insurance. So she would show me how to bookkeep then, how to be a bookkeeper. And I didn't know what I was being exposed to because I was so young. But it wasn't until I got older that I realized what she was doing. That's when the seed for business was planted. So she is definitely someone who was a mentor to me. There's so many, but she's the one that I mentioned I give homage to because that's the foundation of my life. Ida P. Murray. If it was not for Ida P. Murray, I don't know where I would have been because I was headed down a road where the streets was raising me. If I could take it out at another time, I'll tell you my story of the things that I was exposed to because I was lacking that person in my life. But she was the one. And also my Aunt Barbara. Shout out to my Aunt Barbara.
Shout out.
I love my Aunt Barbara. She taught me, everybody who's close to me knows why I give her a shout out because she's another one, a foundational person who's been a mentor to me. These are the people who've been pillars in my life. And yeah, so.
Well, Kaylee says, can you discuss wisdom on the wall?
Oh yes. Okay. So Wisdom on the
Thank you,
Wall.
Kaylee, because I don't know what that is.
Yes. Wisdom on the Wall is a book that is three women that came together. Myself, Alicia Adams, and Kadisha Carroll. And shout out to Kadisha because she was the one who reached out to me. Her and I met at an event. We just hit it off, and I was doing some work for her, and she was doing some work for me. So later down the line, she reached out to me about doing this anthology.
Mhm,
Now, we got on this call. There were like 8 women on the call.
mhm.
And at the end, the only 3 that were standing were myself at an event. We just hit it off, and I was doing some work for her, and she was doing some work for me. So later down the line, she reached out to me about doing this anthology.
Mhm,
Now, we got on this call. There were like 8 women on the call.
mhm.
And at the end, the only 3 that were standing were myself, Alicia, and Kadisha. And we knew it was God ordained. So the 3 of us got together and we wrote Wisdom on the Wall. It is an amazing book that features different topics:
Okay.
anxiety and depression, um, singleness, and entrepreneurship, different things. But the reason why it's named Wisdom on the Wall is because the things that you care about, you put on the wall. You put your
Mhm.
diplomas on the wall, pictures of people that you love. And so we wanted the book and the nuggets that's in it to be something that people remembered. And that's why we called it Wisdom on the Wall. So from there, we started a nonprofit, Wisdom on the Wall Incorporated, which is
Wow.
a women's group. It's not just a women's group, but we focus on family, but mainly women. We started out in Delaware having free events. We always had free workshops where we
Mhm.
invite women out for us to empower them, pour into them. And we have had, oh my gosh, some amazing workshops and events. The women of God, the testimonies that come from them.
Mhm.
We also have a prayer empowerment call every Wednesday at
Okay.
6 o'clock in the morning. And you
Ooh.
can join that. You can go to wisdomonthewall.com to find out more information about that. We also have pop-up prayer calls on Monday. I mean, it's all about prayer. Trust me, it's all
Yes.
about prayer. And those pop-up prayer calls, the miracles and the praise reports that we receive, oh my gosh, it has been life-changing. So Wisdom on the Wall is has been it's been a life-changing experience for me. It's a sisterhood.
Mhm.
We truly support each other. We truly care about each other. When somebody in our circle loses a loved one, we send them a card. Old school. We mail them a card. You know,
Mhm.
it's all about showing love and support. So if you want to know any more information about Wisdom on the Wall, please go to wisdomonthewall.com.
Awesome. What have you learned during this quarantine time?
Oh yes, to rest, to take the time to actually rest, and to spend time. It's been about our family during this quarantine. It really has been. God has really brought the focus back to those areas in our family that might be missing and lacking. And I feel like my husband and I, especially my husband, he's been on his soapbox preaching. He's a preacher, by the way, and a teacher. Let me just put that out there. He
Come
is
on.
definitely a man of God. But he's been talking about how God is reordering the kingdom of God to put family back into its perspective, because a lot of times in ministry um, we have demoted the family structure, and
Mhm.
we put ministry work and all these different things ahead of the family structure when it is the family that makes up the churches.
Yes.
And so we needed to put those that structure back in place, even for ourselves. You can't lead if you don't lead by example. And
Mhm.
so that's what we've really been doing. And we discovered a lot about things that we need to fix in our family. And it's been a good experience. You know, we've learned a lot about our son who's hit puberty, and
Turn up,
and
puberty.
all that goes with that.
Turn
And
up, puberty.
our daughter who is growing, and the things that's coming with that, I'm telling you. So definitely family. And one thing that I've just been hearing in my spirit over and over and over just about this year is to expect the unexpected, regardless of what it is. It could be something
Mhm.
good, it could be something not so good, but be prepared. And you do that through prayer and worship. And that's another thing that during this quarantine has been crucial for me, reestablishing my devotional life and hearing God for
Mm,
myself. I have heard so
me
many
too.
different voices, everybody telling me and dictating to me, and I needed to pause and say, God, what are you saying to me? What is it that you need me? It's been a literal like restructuring and resetting, and that's what has been happening for me during this quarantine.
How do you balance family and industry?
Well, I'm still learning. I'm gonna be honest with
Okay.
you. But what I will say to you is that I went to Maryland Public Television has a women's forum every year.
Okay.
Obviously I didn't get to go this year because of COVID, but I went last year, and there was a lady who was on the panel who was speaking, and she was from, I think she was the president of the public libraries or something like that. But one thing that she said was, there's no such thing as a perfect balance.
Hmm.
She said, I think we get lost in this whole desire to have every area of our life perfectly balanced. If we can accept that from time to time that we will drop a ball or two, then we will be more at peace in our lives than trying to achieve this said perfect
Perfect.
balance.
Yeah.
So I don't know about nobody else who was in the room, but that spoke to me. And I say, you know what? That is so true. So even if the kids get dinner at 8:30 or 9 o'clock, they ate. That's the point. They didn't go to bed hungry. You
Come on.
know, if maybe you didn't check off every box that day, okay, fine. Then carry it on over to the next day and, until you get it done. So sometimes you might not achieve that perfect balance that you're looking for. And sometimes you can wear yourself out and overwhelm yourself trying to
Right.
do it. So the best thing to do is take the time to prioritize, what can I realistically get done in this day? I know I got to wake up. I know I got to take care of the kids. So once they're taken care of, then what's next? Okay. Then while they are at school, let me plug out this paper or let me send these emails. And then when they get home, I already know I'm not going to be able to do those emails, so I don't do it. So it's just about prioritizing and figuring out what's best for you. But trying to achieve this perfect balance, I just believe that it's unrealistic and that you have to accept that sometimes things are not going to be as perfect as you want them to be.
Absolutely. And right now, I want to go into, I'm keeping my journalistic integrity right here. That's why if you see me looking down. Um,
Uh-huh.
could you talk to the dreamers out here? I ask every now and then. I'll ask a guest who I know is powerful in motivating and who have been through something and can really speak to the dreamers in our heart
Mm-hmm.
who who have dreams and visions, but haven't got the strength yet to make that first move, that first jump that we have to take before we are in strange water.
Mm-hmm.
We're still in our comfort zone. We haven't taken that step yet.
Yes. So first thing that's coming in my spirit is to just reassure the dreamers.
Mm.
Don't apologize for being a dreamer. Don't feel guilty for being a dreamer. Let me start there because I feel this strongly in my spirit that there are a lot of us who feel guilty for even being a person that is a dreamer.
Ooh.
We're told many times that we have um, to achieve the American dream, or that ideal job is to be in corporate America,
Real
and
uh,
to get a real job. And let me tell you, I was in that field for 17 years and still was unfulfilled.
mhm.
So I want to tell you, as a dreamer, don't apologize for that. God gave you that for a reason. And so trust that, number one. Number two, what I want to say to you is that you can't, don't be afraid to launch out there for fear of failure.
Mhm.
Yes, you will fail. I'm saying it like that
Well,
because
yes.
wants you to accept that and be okay. If you haven't heard anything else I've said, is to that word acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
Accept. Because when you do, when you fight it, when you fight the fact that you're a dreamer, if you fight the fact that you might fail, then you'll never start at all. So the first step is to accept. The second step is to accept. Accept that you may fail along the way.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get over those two hurdles, then you are halfway there. The
Wow.
other thing that I want to say to you is to write the vision and make it plain. Okay, don't be surprised of the things that you see in your dreams. It may look crazy. It may seem weird. You may wake up like, what in the world was that? I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Write it down, because it may be the fact that you just time traveled to a whole different part in your life. Write it down. Write it down. Because when you do, then you have to hold yourself accountable to that thing.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen many things that I've written down, and when I go back, I'm like, oh my gosh, I actually achieved that. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a way, that's a form of confirming what it is that you're seeing, what it is that is in your spirit. But I want to say to you to write it down. And then I want to say to you the next step is to get around some other people who are dreamers but are ahead of you. Mm-hmm. Don't be intimidated or afraid to be around individuals that have already gotten to a pinnacle that you want to reach, because they'll be able to train you. They'll be able to pour into you. Yeah. I am actually in a position right now, I cannot fully disclose, but I am being trained by a woman right now who is like one of the most well-connected people in the city you would never know, because she's humble, because she is a connector, and she's training me right now. And I humbly submitted myself to her mentorship. But I know it was nothing but God, and your heart has to be right and prepared to receive that. You have to already be prepared in your heart to know that there are going to be some people that God sends to your life that wants to train you. So be humble, receive that training, because it's preparing you for the next stage. So the first thing, I'm going to rewind it for y'all dreamers, okay? The first thing you have to do is do not apologize for being a dreamer. That's number one. Do not feel guilty for being a dreamer. The second thing is acceptance of the fact that that's who you are. That is who you are. And not only that, accept the fact that you may fail along the way. Don't allow that to stop you and keep you stagnant. And the third thing is to get around some individuals and that will pour into you, that are above you, that are in a place where they can actually give you some nuggets that will help train you. So that's it.
Thank you so much for the words of I was about to say the words of nuggets. The nuggets of wisdom. Come on.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. What is your dream interview, or one of them? You know,
gosh,
you can interview anybody.
I guess one of the main ones is, and my husband kind of birthed this in me, but Kathy Hughes. And the reason being is because our stories are so similar. After I had a chance to kind of read her story, and what's crazy is the magazine that I write for, they did an article on her recently.
Okay.
And so they did a whole spread and everything. And I was like, Mr. Walters, why didn't you call me and tell me? Because I would have came wherever you were.
Right.
You know. But anyway, they just did an article on her not too long ago, before the COVID. But I had a chance to do some research into her life and saw how she started a network from the ground up. And she had nothing, and it was her, and it was her husband and her son, you know. And so I would love to get a chance to interview her. It just it would really be solely for me to get some more information.
Right.
To be honest with you, I know there are many who know her story, but it would be amazing to get to sit down with her and just kind of talk to her about how she got to where she is.
That would be dope. That would be dope. You'll be in good company, y'all two together.
Yeah, I would love it. It'd be amazing.
Yes. Could you define success? What is success to you?
Wow, man, success is so subjective. Like it's different
Mm,
from one person to the next. For me, success would be to know that I'm in the will of God for my
mm,
life. And I don't want to sound generic, but that's the truth. That's how I live my life. Like I really just want to be in His will because in His will, you'll find safety. In His will, you'll find the resources. In His will, everything that you need is there because you're in His timing. And
mm,
to me, that's success. And I know when I'm not in the will of God for my life
mm.
because things get so offbeat. I have to work so much harder for stuff.
Right.
I have to like I really do. I'm on a grind that's ridiculous. So for me, success is just knowing that I'm in the will of God and I'm in His timing. I'm doing what He wants me to do, not just with my platform, with my
Mm,
family. Um, and then the other thing of success is just knowing that my family is healthy and well, that what we're doing is able to sustain us, that we're able to live off of what we're doing and the work that we're doing. But the main thing is just me. I don't know how to function um, any other way except for success is being in the will of God.
absolutely. I forgot to ask you earlier when you were talking about your family. How old are your kids?
So I have a 18-year-old bonus daughter that I love. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Ariana is my baby. And what's so funny is the other day when she came over, I don't know why I never noticed this, but we write the same exact way. When I say write, we hold our pencil the same way with our fingers stacked.
Okay.
And we were like, oh my God. She was like, I don't know nobody else in our family who writes like that. I said, well, honey, that's our thing, okay?
Right.
That's our bonding mechanism right there. So I have an 18-year-old bonus daughter, Ariana, who I love. My son, my wonderful son, Nathaniel Burrell, aka Nate the Great, aka NJB077, your favorite kid meteorologist. And the host of Kids Talk, my boo boo, my stinky Lily, and she's also known as Lily B. She is my son is 11. I'm sorry, he's 11,
Okay.
and my daughter is 9. She'll be 10 in August. Yeah,
Did you just slip and give us an exclusive? Now, Kids Talk, is that already on
that's already on YouTube.
okay. Okay.
Yes, that's already. They've had 2 episodes so far, so that's
Okay.
actually an existing show. And I forgot to mention that in the beginning, but yes, Lily B is the host, and Nathaniel, my son, is the kid meteorologist. Oh, excuse me, your favorite kid
Favorite. Come
meteorologist,
on.
NJB077.
That's so dope. That's so dope because that answered my other question if they were moving in the realm of entertainment at all.
They
Hmm.
are. They are. So definitely our daughter. She has it. She's a natural host. She is, when I look at her, I'm amazed because Titus doesn't have to do much to direct her.
Okay.
Well, actually, we call her the boss
Mm,
because that young lady, she knows what she wants. She's clear. She's precise. She's
hmm.
organized. My son Nathaniel, he's been gifted, excuse me, in music since a baby. He
Okay.
could play drums coming out of the womb, literally. Those who are close to me know that. And he loves DJing and mixing
Mhm.
music. He's definitely going to be a producer of some sort. We can already see that he has that
Okay.
gift. But Lily is meant for the tizoo, as Martin would say.
Right.
She
Right.
definitely is meant for the tizoo for TV. She's all personality, and my son, he's a mathematician. He's very smart in math. So they each have their own thing. You know,
Mhm.
yes, it took some getting working with them to get them interested in wanting to do it. Like the first thing we told them to do, first you gotta learn how to set up these microphones when we doing these shows in the studio.
Uh-huh.
That's where you guys start first. Okay. First you gotta learn how to work this soundboard. Okay,
Come
let's
on.
do that.
Come
You
on.
know, let's set up this equipment. Let's do that, and then we can get to the other stuff. So they had to put in their work. They had to earn their keep, so to speak.
I love it. I love it. And I always get to a point where I forget my question. Ah,
Uh-uh.
I got it back. I got it back.
Okay.
And it always happens like that. Thank God that I get it back.
But that's
Because
real,
I don't like to
Brother
be like
Calvin.
this too much. Uh,
I said that's real. It happens to the best
uh,
interviewers.
right.
You are one of the best.
But well, bless you, bless you.
Uh-huh.
So I don't like watching my shows when I'm like this too long, like right. So let me try. But mm, when you on Be Inspired Global Network decide to do the Naomi story, the story of your life, which actress would play you as a child?
Oh Lord,
If you had to cast right now.
my daughter.
Okay.
That's my twin. She is my twin, and she would be able to portray me because when I was little, I was definitely very outgoing. I was always a people's person, but it wasn't until later in life when life happened and fear and anxiety and all those things set in, and then I became very withdrawn and very shy.
Mm-hmm.
She would be able to definitely pull that off.
Okay.
Because she goes in between those different personalities herself, and so she knows, and she's the closest to me. But she's also a born actress.
Mm-hmm.
She is really she goes so far as to write her own little scripts and everything. So it would definitely be her. I couldn't think of anyone else that I would choose.
That is great. I look forward to seeing that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So, it happened again. I'm getting old.
No. It's okay.
My gosh, it's right there.
Look, I'm telling you, it happens. It happens. And then you have to flip the script real quick. Be like, yeah. So, yeah.
Right, but
That's okay. Yeah, I mean, well, I could probably talk a little bit more about some things that I'm going to be participating in later on.
I got it. Yeah,
okay.
keep that some stuff down the line up and come because I want that the up and coming projects. But what are some of your hidden talents?
Okay, so I don't disclose this at all, but I can sing. I don't tell people that because that's one of the things that I have hidden away in my back pocket.
Okay.
And the reason being is, and I would say this to anybody, like, don't sit on any of the gifts that God has given you. He's given to you for purpose. I have been literally working on myself to pull myself out of that fear of singing, but I have a real anxiety when I sing to the point of tremoring, but I've been singing since I was a little girl. I directed the choir.
Oh, wow.
Shout out to Higher Dimensions Christian Center with Bishop E. McDonald Wortham. That's where I got my start. And I was, at 15 years old, I was the assistant choir director. And I enjoyed arranging music, writing music. I wrote several songs that the choir sung. My mother was a writer as well. So she used to be a choir director and write songs as well. Music is a big part of our family. So I have been singing for quite a while. And so when I do pull it out, people are always shocked, like, I didn't know you could sing like that. And I'm like, yeah, well, it's one of those things. So yes, I do sing.
Okay.
Yeah. But people who know me, who are close to me, know that. But
Got you. In due time, you can't do everything at one time. Some stuff got to develop and be birthed.
Yeah, I need a little more birth than Brother Calvin. Pray for your sister, okay? Let's get the interview off my back with that one.
Hey, if it's in your heart, it's coming through. It's definitely coming through. Yeah, because you don't play. You do things with excellence.
Yeah.
All right, we only have a couple more seconds left. What are those projects that you were talking about coming up?
Yeah, so I am supporting, and it's only one because I've kind of been low key, especially with COVID-19. But
Okay.
I'm supporting, it's called Join the Conversation. Shout out to Monica McQueen. I've been
Hmm.
helping her with this event. She just had her first event on June the 22nd, and
Hmm.
it's about police brutality and really bridging the gap between the community and law enforcement and community leaders, and having a conversation about about how you can protect yourself as a citizen.
Okay.
And so it's a real open conversation. So I'm working with her with that. She did ask me to be the moderator for one of those events. I don't have the date yet, but it's coming soon, and I'll make sure, Brother Calvin, you have all the information.
Come on.
But I'm happy to be part of that movement because it really is a
Yeah.
movement that's going to be happening all across this country, and I'm just happy to be part of it.
That's what's up. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Faith Factor with your boy, Brother Calvin. And of course, the incredible Miss Be Inspired. Check her out on her Facebook page, and as well as blah blah blah. Be Inspired
Instagram, yes,
Global Network.
yes,
What else? What else?
yeah. Be Inspired
What
Global
else?
Network on Facebook. Miss Be Inspired on Instagram. You can check us out, and Be Inspired Global Network on Instagram. We're building that page up. Check us out
Mhm.
at beinspiredglobal.media. We're also there, but please check us out. Go to our Facebook page, Be Inspired Global, and like and share.
Yes, real quick. I meant to say this earlier too. I love the fact that your branding is so um, consecutive. It has continuity.
Yes,
So you don't gotta run and figure out how to spell this, that, or that. If you know how to spell the first site, then you probably just change one word at the end, either a .com or a Facebook.com.
yes.
Or
Mm-hmm.
I love that. It's
Thank
just it's
you.
monumental. Then you got the enterprises, and then it's all you can reach you and you can find you. And then when you Google, it's probably all in one line too. If you
Yeah, yeah. We're actually registered with the Better Business Bureau, Be Inspired Global. So you'll be able to put us in and find us there, which we're grateful for.
come on, Black Excellence, you see what I'm talking about? I'm so proud of y'all.
Thank
I'm
you.
grateful to know you and be connected. And I look forward to everything that God is going to do through you and your family and Be Inspired Global Network. Thank you again for being here with us.
Thank you. It's my
Any last words?
pleasure. No, just thank you. Thank you. And I'm so happy for you with Faith Factor. I pray God's blessing all over it and that you'll get picked up by a network yourself.
Mm.
Praise God. Hallelujah. Touch it and agree with you.
Thank you so much, Queen. Thank y'all for watching. You can watch this episode and all of season 1 on YouTube. This episode will be up in a couple hours. All the other ones are already up. See you next time on the Faith Factor.